Hello dorks, it's your boy, Lansing Arroyo. So lately I've been kinda down in the shitter just because, yeah, life just sucks. It absolutely blows, especially during this recession. I don't think anyone is enjoying it, but some are positive, and I'm negative about it, so I'm gonna complain. Lately, applying to jobs feels so meaningless. Granted, I already have a job. I'm not a deadbeat by any means. Well, I'm sort of am because I feel like I could push myself harder, but I'm not doing that, so I am sort of feeling like a deadbeat, but I guess technically I'm not. And I have applied to jobs. I know the ins and outs of applying to jobs, but if you ask anyone, they're gonna have different opinion about it. Like, oh, you should have a more higher quality resume. You should cater it to the keywords of the application, and then maybe you're gonna get a chance to get an interview. But then that's not really the case if you are early stage trying to start a career. If you're already in a career where you found your niche and your specialty, odds are you're gonna have to spam applications. Otherwise, if you're already in the niche, that's where you have a more higher quality application, which is why quantity is better than quality if you're starting to find a career. And because I've been applying to like around, let me see, like 120 jobs per week, and I've got more interview opportunities compared to applying with quality, which sucks a lot. That just means that I wasted a bunch of time applying to jobs, because back then I would spend around an hour per application just redoing my whole resume over again, just so someone that with a real job will tell me, hey, you know what, you should probably just spam it, shotgun it, auto rifle it, I don't know, just whatever the term they use to just tell people to unload their resume on like 80 companies in a day. That's probably what you should do, what I should have done very early instead of wasting all my time. And I've known recruiters, I know people that work in HR, I see them work because they work from home now, and they don't really read your resume. They just use control find and just look for whatever keywords, which is kind of hypocritical, me saying what I said earlier about just spamming your jobs and not worrying too much about keywords. But they just use control find and try to see a few things. If you have it, if you don't have it, they just knock your resume out. It's really easy for them to reject the resume, and it also makes their job easier. And one time, actually, just by spamming my resume, I didn't even notice this. I had a bunch of typo all over my resume. I could count like around 15 on a resume that I had one time, but I got a job offer for it, but it wasn't, the pay was just not what I asked for, so I ended up declining it. So another shitty thing that happens is that they just, when they reject you, or like when they just ask you to do an interview, despite knowing that you don't make the cuts, they still want to do an interview with you, which is baffling. It's bewildering, because as the older you get, the more you realize how valuable your time is. No one wants to spend their time dealing with shenanigans, but then I have situations where people will ask me to do a interview, and the whole time they just already reject me because I don't meet the qualification. And I mean, everything is written on the paper. They already know what I have, but then they still insist on doing an interview with me. Like, come on, man. Don't you have better things to do at your job? Or maybe they're just pretending to be busy, and they much rather do an interview than to do actual work at their own workplace. It's just so offensive when they just decided to call you for an interview just when they already know the answer. And, well, but then, as ironic as it sounds, I have had this happen to me where I apply for a job, and the whole time the guy was just berating me, telling me, oh, you don't meet this requirement, you don't meet that requirement, you're kind of inexperienced, I'm so sorry, I don't know if you would do it. But I end up getting a job offer, but for less pay. Maybe that is their goal. They would try to belittle you. I'd say say if someone tries to do that to you, just defend yourself and try not to get bullied into lower pay, because that's just such a common thing for people to do. Because they're trying to make you do more work but less pay. It's common sense. Like any business owner will want to do that to anyone they hire. That way they can have more money for themselves. It totally makes sense. Now, another thing that makes me feel like I waste a bunch of time is that they posted a job asking people to apply to jobs, but then they don't reply. Why don't they reply? Like, I'm not asking for an interview for every application I send, but then I'm asking for a rejection. It's also pretty nice to get a rejection. At least I know it's not gonna work out with this company, so I can move on. But then some companies, they either take 3 months to never replying, which is a waste of time. Why are they gonna go and do that? Because it's just, I just cannot wrap my head around it. They think, is it good for their company image if they just ignore people? And because some people, they take well over an hour, more longer than me, to apply for a job, and they just don't reply. It's as simple as clicking a button. All these things are automated. Emails can be automated, especially with Microsoft Outlook. But instead of just clicking a button and rejecting someone, or maybe a few more buttons, I don't know, maybe it'll take like 5 seconds to reject a person, and they still don't do it, which is just very unfair. It's like, okay, I spent 2 hours, 1 to 2 hours applying for a job, and you're just gonna ignore my efforts. That's how some jobs are. They are pretty, that's how some companies are. They're pretty selfish, and that's how they function. This just spells how life is just simply unfair. Now, I'm not telling you to blame people because, oh, they have better luck and all, but you just gotta accept it, that your life is probably shittier than most people, and you're gonna have to try a little harder than most people. And for some that are born without an arm or a leg, they have to try even harder than you. Unless if someone with no limbs is watching this video, sucks to be you, but that's just how it is. And you cannot blame these people for wanting to keep their job, right, and doing less work, because that's the whole point of life, is happiness. What makes you happy is to just work less and keep what you're getting. Then yeah, by all means, go for it. I cannot condemn that. It's unfair, but then it makes sense. Given that you are wearing their shoes, of these people that are making a lot of money doing 20% of the work of what most people are doing, you probably do the same thing. You probably just take a chill, lay low, hide from the bosses, and just take the money. Now, back to job applications I was complaining about. I would say don't spend more than 5 minutes per a job application. It's just not worth your time. I used to spend an hour per an application, catering to every keyword. But yeah, no one really cares. It's just how it is. No one had time to read everything and go like, whoa, wow, this guy is putting in a lot of work. Good job. I'm gonna hire him. And I'm well known to have bad luck in my family, so I probably should have just spammed the resumes to begin with, just from learning from life. And and lately I've been watching an anime about a kid trying to be a magic wizard king despite having no magic at all, and it's kind of nice to see it. Although it's not realistic, it's kind of nice to see something where someone is trying to strive for something they can't get, supposedly, and probably gonna get it. I didn't finish the show yet, but then I'm pretty sure that's the ending. It's pretty typical of shonen anime to just make the protagonists have the ideal happy ending. And yeah, it's a recession, so it's gonna be harder than usual to look for a job, but just believe in yourself and power through, and stop complaining like I am.